if you can understand the words that I'm saying, and you're living in a first world country, you have the opportunity of a lifetime to build wealth. Because guess what? Other countries don't have that. And so now, if you're in a country like America, you have the ability to build wealth. I don't care what you look like, where you come from, what degree you have, if you don't have a degree, or what type of background you have the opportunity to build wealth. But that means you got to stop settling. That means you got to stop being comfortable with where you are. And the difficult part about this just depends on where you are, because it's that initial hurdle that's so hard. I have friends that when they were 25 years old, they graduated engineering school and they got a job and they hated their job. They were making good money, but they hated their job. And I said, well, why don't you do something different? You're 25, 26, 27 years old. Why don't you do something different? And you know what they told me? I'm too deep. I'm 25, 26 years old. I got an engineering degree. I've been working up the corporate ladder. I'm in too deep. Well, guess what happens now when they're 33 years old? Now they're in even deeper. Now it's even more difficult, and it's also even more pressing that I wish I did something different when I was 28. But this is where it's never too late. I don't care if you're 33, 43, or 53, you can do something different, but that requires you not to settle, but also be smart. Now that can mean a lot of things. That can mean you get a career change. That can mean you try to start a business. That can mean you change what you do with your money, but you are in control. You have the opportunity of a lifetime, because in countries like America, you have the ability to build wealth. You have the ability to invest money and get profits. You have the ability to start a business and control what you do. Other countries don't give you that luxury. Other countries don't let you just start a business. Other countries don't let you try to go out and innovate. Other countries don't let you get the profits. Other countries don't allow you to do this. But you can do that here. Why do you think immigrants around the world are risking their lives, literally risking their lives to come to this country? It's for a shot at a better life. And this is where I want you to kind of build the immigrant mentality. Why do immigrants bust their butt to come here, work like anything? It's all for a shot at a better life. And if you're sitting there complaining about where you are, but then you're watching 2 hours of Netflix every day, we kind of got to figure out, what can we change here? Because if you got those 2 hours going into Netflix, killing your brain cells, how about you start by changing what you consume so you can start changing what you get? Number 5 is don't hate the system. In this economic system, guess what? The system profits when you are broke. The system profits when you don't understand money. The system profits when you're financially stupid. What do I mean by that? Banks profit when you're in debt. If you don't understand money and you just keep financing your cars, your clothes, your vacations, banks love it, because that means you get to pay them for the rest of your life. Corporations profit when you're financially stupid, because that means you can buy anything and everything that they offer you, and they keep making the money. Governments profit when you're financially stupid, because, well, that means you are an employee and you're not an investor and you're not a business owner. Now, again, nothing wrong with being an employee, but you can't just be an employee. You also have to be an investor, because let me tell you something. As an attorney who's not your attorney, what I can tell you is that our tax code taxes income differently. What that means is your money that you make as an employee is taxed differently than the money you make as an investor. I'll give you an example. If I was a doctor and I made $1 million as a surgeon, I'm going to pay half of that money in taxes. When you factor in your federal taxes, your state taxes, your FICA taxes, it's going to be at least half, depending on which state you live in, sometimes even a little bit more. But if I made that money as an investor, I bought this stock and I made $1 million in profit and I sold it a few years later, that's called long-term capital gains. And that's taxed differently than my job income, which is called your ordinary income. Your ordinary income is taxed at the highest tax rates that our tax code has to offer, and you also get the lowest tax deductions. Your investment income, like your long-term capital gains income, comes with lower tax rate. Today, at the time of me recording this video, the top tax rate for long-term capital gains is 20%, which means if I make the same $1 million as an investor, the most I'm going to pay is 20%, versus if I have to work every single day as a doctor doing surgeries, doing all these things, I have to pay half of that in taxes. And that's not all. If I go out and invest in real estate, there are even more tax breaks and tax deductions that I can take advantage of. So what I mean by this is, I don't want you to hate the system. Instead, I want you to learn how the system works, because this was something I had to figure out, because I didn't understand this. I didn't grow up with financial education. When I first started learning about the wealthy people in America, when I first started learning about how our economic system works, I was angry, because I was studying originally to become a doctor. I didn't go to medical school, but I was studying to get into medical school. And my whole thinking was, if I did good in school, I'm going to do good in money. But what I realized is Those are two completely different things. We're taught to go to school to get a good job so we can make a lot of money, thinking that that's going to make us wealthy. When in reality, if you talk about wealth, it's you got to know what to do with your money. What financial education is in order to actually build wealth, that way you can take advantage of the system. And this system that we have here benefits the financially educated. Now, the benefit that we have today, which we didn't have 15 years ago, is we have things like YouTube, which makes financial education so much more accessible because now you don't have to go out and actually read a book or hire a coach. I mean, you can just watch a YouTube video and get a lot of financial education for free and then start reading books or whatever you want to do after that. But this is where, if you want to win in this system, heeding it doesn't do any good for you. But if you understand it, you can learn how to win in the system. Number 6 is don't chase the shiny object. When you start to build your financial education, this happens to pretty much everybody, myself included. You start to realize, okay, I got to start living below my means. I got to work to earn more money so I have more money to invest. This investing process to build wealth is a long-term game. Can't I just figure out how to do this quicker? I mean, who wants to get rich slowly? Everybody wants to get rich quickly, right? And so as you start to do this, you're going to come across things that can hopefully make you rich quicker. It might be a crypto that can boom very quickly and make you a lot of money. It might be a meme stock that is shooting up in value that might double your money in just a few days. Or it might be a class on how to make 6 figures in 6 weeks without doing anything on the beach. But what I want you to understand is that these get rich quick things, these shiny object things will make some people rich, but most people will lose everything they put in, and they end up slowing your path to long-term wealth. Now, I get it. Some people got to get burned. I had to get burned a few times to actually realize that you got to do things the right way, not always the most attractive way. But I want you to keep it in the back of your mind that if something is too good to be true, it probably is. Number 7 is do not invest more than you're willing to lose. And what I mean by that is I get these very frantic messages occasionally from people saying, Jaspreet, I invested my money, but now my investment portfolio is down and I got to pay my mortgage or I got to pay my car payment. I need to buy groceries. What do I do? Well, what you have to understand is the money that you're putting into your investments is different than your spending money. Your investment money isn't just a bank account. This is money that you want to use for long-term wealth. If you're dipping into your investment money to fund your daily purchases, you're doing it all wrong. When you think about investing your money, you got to understand that you are going to lose money. You've probably heard me say this a million times that I'm just a random guy on YouTube. You should never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube, and you will lose money at some point. Not that you might, you will. That's what happens to every investor. Even Warren Buffett has lost money in the past. So if you are going to lose money at some point, because that's part of the educational process, you got to be willing to understand that you can't always be ready to touch that investment money. That is there for a completely different purpose. That's not there for your spending. So when you put money into your investments, kind of think of that money as gone. If you put $1,000 into your investment account, think of that money as gone. Now, hopefully that $1,000 is going to grow to $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, something a whole lot more. But you don't want to think of it as an external bank account that you can just tap into at any time. Because the real way that wealth is built is by letting your money compound and grow over the long term, years or decades, because that's where the real wealth is built. But if you're just sitting there frantic, emotional, watching the markets, watching it go down, and getting that anxiety, it's going to be very hard for you to build any real wealth because you kind of have to separate yourself from your spending money and then your investment money and let your investment money grow and compound over the long term. Oh, and don't invest on margin, especially if you're just getting started. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.